저 당부 생이 각바를 니식도 제 지든 생기 땡인바 각바다 연된 생기 땡인바 각바식도 제의 연된 생기 땡 말을 제의 지든 생기 땡 말을 이거 각이어라 제 지든 생기 땡인바 각바 단대용도 당부들아 당부 제 지든 생기 땡인바 각바니스 지라바나를 수다 본버 세션 임묘사라. This one. Oh yeah. 숄가 니버데. 니번도 사르 숨버데 인도. This one. 여바다 세션 인데세. 여바다 본버 세션 인데 본버 세인라. 여바니 집에 지침부터 현단주의 여바 니도 셔나스. This one. Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're on the third part here, then the third stanza, and it's if we look in the outline, it says here we're refuting the characteristics, or I'm not sure, it might be, yeah, anyway, we'll say refuting the characteristics, and then refuting the substantial entity as a basis for a distinct generality. That's this verse 328, or the third verse of the chapter. And it's saying here, the Vaisheshika assertion, though the pot and its form are not different substantial entities, existence and the pot are. The pot is a substantial entity and is said to exist through its connection with the great generality existence, which is something separate from it.
Oh yeah, da. This one. Oh yeah, da. Sholoka siktambuddila kuydengide. Ni sen mitun tonene kede ngöyle bumshena sedera. Ni sen sikarsugresna yoba nida bumba ni sigdoa. Yoba nida bumba ni se. Chidan kebarji senyi se. Chidi chire yoba nidi chire bumba di kebarwa. 지다 개발이 생이 미튼바 통내니세 되니 세션이 바 통내니 아니 개데 뭐보 여바 니래 분바 세션이 나식도 개데 뭐보 여바 니래 분바 세션이 남식요와 이스나니 태바 마이 바타서 뭐보 여바 니다 분바 세션이 바 밑에 바타르스고라 대신도 어부 여봐야 분발에 세션도 주세 관계 대신도 어부 여봐야 분발에 세션도 주세 시민규는 규로와 탈로서 오늘 분바 여봐 마인반 규로시나서 오야 아니 데르다 니세 메트 통내네 게데 뭐래 봄셔나 세더라 딜로래 딜럽다
So the first two verses here, then the first two lines of the verse here say that since the two, that means existence and the pot, are seen to have dissimilar characteristics. If the pod is separate from existence, why would existence not also be separate from the pod? It's hard to separate out the two here. In the Tibetan, it separates out the two. So then here, the commentary reads, existence and the pot are seen to have dissimilar characteristics of a generality and of a specific. It is not feasible for the pot to be a substantial entity which is separate from existence. For if it were, why would existence not be a separate entity from the pot? It follows that it would be.
다데 뿜바다 뿜바 예반이디 뭐 다데 이나서라 뭐 다데 이나 아니 뿜바데 예바 많이 바른도 그래서거라 너나 뿜바 예바 많이 방주로서도 yeah.
So if this is accepted, the pot is a non-existent.
yeah. 니바 연대된 단다데 가르소르네 뿜바데 찌트현기 때마레스 파카소아 뿜바데 예바다부 찌트현다 뭐 타데 마레스로아 뭐 타데 얘네는 뿜바데 예바 많이 버려도 그래서거라 뿜바 예바이나 뿜바데 예바다 뭐지 버체치 버려도 거라 뭐 디제다 니 뿜바데 연대현기 때마 가바시도 연대현 뿜바 제체 뿜바 수임바스는 연대르거라 So
here it's then what do you say, refuting that the pod and existence would be separate entities, and so now it's going to talk about the pod and well, here it's called attributes, and them being, what do you say, let's see, sorry, refuting that it's a basis for distinct attributes, that the attributes are separate.
다 되거든.
No, dude.
야, 다 되리다. 네 컨디션 도시나. 제 뿜바데 랑원에 주바 요아레스 거라. 가레스나 뿜바직 도세, 뿜바닌도 뿜바숨 도세라. 근데 다쳐봐 나스 거라. 뿜바제데 랑원에 주바 요아레데 뿜바직니는 속배 연된 tension기 ten시베시스 뿜바되게 뿜바직이나 뿜바직ሬ도세 뿜바니도나 뿜바니도세 뿜바숨도세 거라 어디인데 뿜바데 제레 직 장가 직이나 직디 연대리 니유나 연대 숨이나 숨 연대리도 거라 그래서 뿜바데다 뿜바직이나 뿜바다 직니부데 tension레스 뿜바되게 연된 tension기 ten시그리 시시그리스 나시거라 ten시베치로시나 연된 tension기 ten시베치로시나 술랍거라 아니 연된다 제기 지금 소소로 타데베치로세 오시로 다 연된 tension기 ten시스 가르스나 연된다 제니 식다 식소소가 타데레스거라 그 칸에 니 랍주 요나는 제타데레도 그러 코나룰라 칸에 니 직니 랍이도나 제타데레도 그래 근데 뿜바 미다바스는 뿜바다 미다바스 제타데레스 그래 낭바체는 뿜바 미다바스 뿜바 미다바레 그래서 뿜바 미다바데 제타데 말해 뿜바 미다바 제레 미다바 오레스 그래 그 직니 랍이도 제타데시 타데레 제타데시 그래
In this system, then, it's well, second, it's going to refute that that there's a separate what do you say characteristic or attribute that there's an attribute that's separate. So it says that in this system, when you talk about the attribute of the pot, for instance, two pots or three pots. The two and the attribute of being two or three is said to be distinct. It's like what do you say? Not the same entity. That's two distinct. What do you say? Here it's using the word. It's they're substantially different.
Oh yeah, that kede chik pum mendo na pumba chik pum mingyuro sedera. Kede chik se pumba chik yo na kangban dina pumba chik yo na pumba chik do se na ni kede ani chik de tang se chik de tang de chik ni sumshinga se na tangarwa. Oh tanga che chik tanga de se ora. Pumba mendo na se pumba chik do mingyuro se. Oh, tene pumba de chik na, trang chik na, ngo chikba, mse chikba mendo na, ne pumba chik do mingyo ro se, pumba kora chik rig ma re se gora. Oh, chik dun ta debe che ro se, pumba da chik si du ko, chik dun da ta de re ba se gora. Pumba da chik ta de re nga ranzu che na, nangba che na, pumba da chik ngo ta de ma re, ngo bu ina, tene zeta de sigira ngota de zeta de chibare ngo me sona ani ngota de yin se zeta de ran sigma de tanam yu dan digre chocho ke de chik da tanga ni sig do pumba chik da tanga ni yu na on de ne ke de chik pum mendo na se ke de chik ki tang pumba mendo na pumba chik do men yu se pumba da chik ni bu de ngo chik ba mendo na pumba chik in ba reg ma re se ta di lab de re
here that says so the assertion here is that the substantial entity, the pot, exists because it acts as a basis for attributes such as 1 and 2, which are distinct from it. This is we're on the 4th verse. So attribute and substantial entity are different words and have different meanings. Here, that's the answer, is that attribute and substantial entity are different words and have different meanings. So if one is not accepted as the pot, the verse says, if one is not accepted as the pot also is not one. So here it says, the commentary on that says, if the number 1 is not accepted as the pot, it's a different substantial entity, right? The pot is not 1.
This one.
No.
Oh yeah, ta ni la sok ba shi no pena pumba ni oh the ru chik ba re se pumba sum ni pumba shi nga se kang ga chik ba re ta de na pumba la chik ta lo den min ju ban ju ro se oh de pumba de ka so re chik re ma so na chik na ze shen yin na pumba de chik re ma re te ne pumba le ya chik ta da long ju ma re se chik shi be ta ju ma re di chik go nyam be long ju mi ju ba thar kre se go ra de na pumba la chik ta lu ten du mi ju ba ju ro se
And then it says the pot and because like 2 and so forth, these are different words and have different meanings. If if this is accepted, then the term and the thought 1 do not validly apply to the pot.
Yeah, that is it. Then the Tsungba Mayin se, they jan chik do mingyuro sedra. The Karsuto Demba de Tatina Shichibaria, Pumba Demba Seri and Demba. Demba Jishagra. Then the Sumba Mayimba, Dejan Chigdo, Minjoro Sedra. Demba de Sumba Nila Yingi, Misumbala Mayinde se. Demba said they got Sumba de Nilia Chichil and Demba Sigura Sigora. Misumbala Yate Dylan Dance Yomar, Talapalan Dance Adam, Tendela Yomar Sigora. Eugene Shinosa. Then Pumba Chig Nila. Pumba Chig Nila, Demba Sumba Mayimba la Tese. The Dan de Sumba Mayimpa, Dan de Sumba Mayimpa. Tejan Chig do Minjuro Sedra. Dan de se. Pumba Chig Nila, Demba Sumba Mayimba la Tese. Pumba Chig dan Dange, Chig Pumba dan Mindembe Chirosa. Pumba de Chig dan Demba Yin. Chigla Pumba dan Demba Mare Sigura. Tejan Pumba Chig do Minjuro se. Teina ko Pumba Chig Rig Mare Sigura. Tinu Tadena. Pumba da Pumba Chig Tadena, Pumba de Chig Rig Mare Sigura. Taran Lucian Tangora. Tejan Pumba Chig do Minjuro. Chig Nile Session Becher. Carisne. Chiglet Session in a Chig Rig Mare. Chig Mine, Chig Mare. Chig Rangshin Rig Mare Sigura.
So then the assertion is that the pot is one by virtue of possessing the attribute one, but one is not the pot. Then the last two lines of the verse 4 say, moreover, possession is not reciprocal, therefore also it is not one. Possession occurs, here the commentary explains that possession occurs between two similar things, as in the case of consciousness, and not between dissimilar things, like a horse and a cow. Moreover, there is no reciprocal possession between the pot and one, since the pot possesses one, and one does not possess the pot. That in this system, then they're not seen as being of the same nature. So then the pot is also not one because of being a separate entity from one. So in Buddhism, then they're, in the Buddhist point of view, then they are considered of one nature. But here, as they're separate natures or separate entities, then the pot is not one.
Oh yeah, Tatunda Pumba Ngarazuchena Pumba Mitabarava. Pumba Mitabarang Shirva. Jiberang Shirin Jibeng Morva. Tindu Pumba Mitabata Mo Chibare Se Chibara. Pumba Mitabar Remasuna Maina Pumba da Mitabani Zeta Deina Pumba de Mitaba Remare. Pumba de Mitaba Zeta Deina Pumba Mitaba Maimbandu Resigoda. Pumba de Mitaba Rediora. Mitaba Mo in Riva. Hindi Pumba de Tam Mitabani Zechigre. Dogba Tade. Pumba Mitaba Dogba Tade. Pumba Mitaba Zechig Mochigre. The Kondo de Pumba Midaba Mo Tadere, Ze Tadere, Doba Tadere, Ze Tade Slogache Yomarcondo. O Tigani Labuton, Ze Tadere, Mo Tadere Sigra. And I don't know Pumba, Midaba, Pumba, Cheva, Pumba, Suit in the Labura. Then Doba Tade Sigra. Ze Tade Mare. Zeta de Yen Pumba Midaba Maimbaran, Pumba Midaba Zeta then Pumba Midaba Mare, Pumba Cheva, Zeta then Pumba Cheva Mare, Mova Mare Segura. O Dina Sigura, Pumba de Chigna ngotade chigni da ngotade ne pumba chigre ma re sigora pumba chigre na ne pumba chigda ngotade ma re sigora tanda kale kabu ke mare
so if you what's being said here then if you look at it from by comparing it then to the Buddhist point of view, if you say that well, we talk about impermanence in pot, the impermanence of the pot. So the impermanence of the pot is said to be of the same nature. Its impermanence in pot is said to be of the same nature, or the same, being the same substantial entity, and therefore we can talk about the pot being impermanent. In the Buddhist perspective, then, pot and impermanence are the same, and what do you say? The same nature, the same substantial entity, but they're different for thought. Buddhists make the distinction of them being different for thought, but that's not so in this system of the Vaisheshika. That they have them as being separate substantial entities, or just separate entities, and therefore the pot could never could never be impermanent, and or anyway, it couldn't have any attribute. In here, they talk about the pot being one, right? It could never be one if its attribute is a separate entity from it.
Oh yeah, da niba ra de ka se sholuga ngabadira. Ni pumba de yonden tenjengi ni suda yonden la yonden niba teng mares. Pumba se de zera. Ani pumba su imba asne yonden ri yor di kejuk sore sigora. Yonden da su la ya yonden shanda jiten ya marko. Yonden la yonden niba teng mares sigora. Zela yonden tingre. Yonden resasunu koliyan yonden shenda jiten ya marre sigora. Odiba kagora. Yonden la yonden shenda ten ya re sigora. Pumba su chere. Ani pumba chembo yena pumba su chembo sigora. Pumba su de shi che yonden che tilya chembo de ya yonden tingiora. Na ko yonden la yonden niba ting marre sede.
So in this next verse, 330, which means verse 5, that again the Vaisheshika comes up with the statement that you can't have an attribute. An attribute can qualify what do you say? An attribute can qualify a substantial entity, but an attribute cannot qualify an attribute. And so then what's being refuted here is the inconsistency with the assertion that one attribute cannot rely on another attribute. And so from the Buddhist point of view, of course you can say, it's talking about the form of a substance, and why can't is an attribute of the substance. Then why can't you have a large form of the large form of the substance?
Oh yeah. Shaya köge sigda chida pa köge sigora. Yonden zela tengre chara. Yonden de zela tengre stu pumba de zere pumbe soksne yonden re sigora. Chazan pumbe so yonden de se pumbal tingre shere te ko kelengora ranlu gendigora disa yonden se la tenje shere yonden la ya yonden niba medembar doban geldese yonden la yonden niba ting maresate mandu bare ting gaware segura yonden la yonden niba tingre segura dilabda.
Here, saying that attributes qualify substantial entities, okay? That's okay, but your contention that attributes qualify substantial entities, but that one attribute does not qualify another is contradictory.
This one. Oh, yeah. Sela yonden tingre, yonden la yonden niba ting mares chera. Oh, tadi pa kagra. De kange se pumba la sokba aseda. Se di pumba chera. Pumba kawa tusu chera. Kange se pumba la sokba ese. Chushingi tani yip chizamba se. Ya tombo tang, pasu chenpo tang, chu tang, shing tang se, shinga chichung sero ya. 추세로 tindepa 야마 치중 쓰고라 첨부요는 고 분바 첨부 쓰그래 충주요는 분바 충중 쓰그라 어제 추신기 단이 이 지zam바 대zam기 추신기 단이 일라스 이까지 야 통보다 파수정부 간대네 자치중 간대주네 되는 신쓰고라 추신기 단이 얘나 대세 제 첨부 인바테이션도 제 분바의 첨부 인바테이션도 아니 Pumbe suk de chembo rendo rese gora. Yonde suk chembo de ese. Chembo de mayin bala sula ya chembo shebe yonde denshen kelen ko beje. Sula ya suk chembo de ese ya. Pumbe suk de chembo de ese na. Pumbe suk de yonde ni baten ro chembo de yonde rendo gora. O chedan te kanse 강세 제 지점 수나서 제의 거제 전부 여바 대삼지 수대안이 전부 다 충주래고 그래서 거라. 수나 대제 수치 지디메서 수대 전부 지디메의 전부래서 거라. 대연에다 분바 제 분바래 될라 수템바래 수들라 수 전부래셔서도 전부도 템바래서 연대는 이버 땡기도 와서 그래.
The verse, then, the first two lines of the verse say, if the form is the size of the substance, then why is the form not large? So if the size of the substantial entity, here, or this translated as a substance or the substantial entity, the pot, or the pillar or whatever, the pot here, and the size of its visible form are the same. So if its size and size here is referring to just its width and its height. Why is the attribute form not large, just as the substantial entity is large? If the substantial entity is large, then one must accept that the form has a separate attribute of large. So if you repeat that, if the form is the size of the substance, then why is the form not large? If it's a large substance, it has to be a large form, and then it has to have the attribute. Then the form, which is an attribute, has to have an attribute, large.
Noya, ta kede chikulu shemina shunglu nyebar chawran gyursedra. Kede chikulu kyosigora chitabal sura. Range tesenle shemina ase. Kyorangi tene kelang batile shen bachina kyoji shunglu nöjido tembar chawan gyurna yang se dirni mirik de se trupta de sevala shugbe chiro se ta ko chida karsik do se yonden nibate Medembado Koja, look race agora. Then you never think Mare, Nazu looks race agora. And it's so Pumba Chambu and Pumba Sudia Chambu was the or there other Chambu Chungu race agora. Or there in Inanga, you then you but then Bakeling Marangazu looks race agora. Oh, dear Lamnatico, get a Kurangi. Rangi tesele shemina köki shunglu nöjü de temperature an juna yanse o kena de sosu tadi kelinge mena ne kena de nöjü yobada ha gudwa serese gisora deni miri de tubda de sevala shugbe chirose tanda kena de ngazu de le keling mari de ngazu tubda dwa kakba chigore sigora adigre yeah
then the followers of the Vaisheshika come back and say, small and large cannot qualify form, for according to our textual system, one attribute does not qualify another. So they won't, they're just saying that they can't, although, well, they just, even you tell them that the form is large, then they say, well, we can't talk like that because it's not in our scriptural source. And the verse, the last two lines of the verse, and if the opponent were not different, scriptural sources could be cited. If your opponents were not from a school other than your own, you could cite your textual system to fault their argument. But it is inappropriate here since we are engaged in rejecting these very tenets. Basically, he's saying that, that's you can say that if we were members of your community here, but we're not. So it's inappropriate to be quoting your argument. Your scriptural, your textual system.
We are done in the Niba, Senshi Kakba said the Redua. The Cassigresna, Shanila Sogba, Yundent and Shangi, Tenka Gansura. Oh, Kerang Pumbate, Yundent Mare Pumbate, Yundent and Shangi, Ten, but they can car sonsor and not bet on the carva. Pumbate, Yundent and Shangi Temare. Chitun Shangi Temare se Kabara, Chitun Shanka, Yundent Shankara. Oh, that is Shangila Soba, Yundent Shanka Ganse. Senshi Pumba Magaba, Pumba ranking on you do it. Senshi Pumba de Jana Ranguni Trubakama so answer. Taking that up Pumba Ranguni Truba de years again cigarette. This was true Labdua. No, yeah. You do Shana answer. I did take my respect of what you got. Yeah.
So this next verse, 6 or 331, is refuting that which is characterized. So it's talking about the substantial entity that's characterized. So even if distinct attributes like separateness are refuted, that just refuted the idea of these of there being distinct attributes, then the pot which they characterize, which these attributes characterize, is not refuted and thus exists by way of its own entity, or essentially exists.
Yeah, this one. That you have Nila Sobanese, Chesu Jube Teni Chendance, Pumbanin Dobe Teni Chendo Mabanas, Kando Yangoni Tuba, Yuba Member Terni, Nila Soba, Tangla Soba, Le Tadebe, Ragging Oyo Tube, Pumbengo Yuba Minus and Lucidua. Oh, they Rangi Chengi Tube, Pumbengo Soba to Yuba Maresigua. Can't do that.
No. So,
Yavanila Soba City, Driven and Devoding. Yavanila Soba Natures, you get Sengi Chandas. Yavaniche, se pumba chera. Ine kangdo ngoni je tuba yoba memba tene se na yonten to rangi ngoyo tuba yoba memba tene chingni la sokba tang la sokba la tade ba rangi ngoyo tuba pumba ni pumba ngobu yoba mare se. Da dere ya. Bigdo.
The Drupa, what did Tenshika?
Sholuga tuba dira, tuba de yongora shine yongora. Ya. Singdi de wole yongora. Tambu de chilab de tin treba de ode yongora sing. Dinama. Gilab shaga na. Dona senyi lengo ta debe senshi danse. Senyi jijan senshi ni sedera. Dona senyi lengo ta debe senshi. Senyi lengo ta debe senshi yo mare. Senshi dan senyi sunja de ngo chiba yongora. Senshi lengo ta debe senyi nyeba yo mare segura. Ti tama yu senyi jijan senshi ni 강도 주바 유명바 세도 그래도 유명바 세 이때네 니바랑데 가고 어디 딘데래도 예반일에서 당부디 도나 생일랭오 타데베 생시요 말에서와 생실랭오 타데베 생이 라게 말에서도 어디 이게 생이 지장 생신이 강도 주바 유명바세 되던다 시기도와 다데 데르네 트랑소 타데버 뭐부 여바 많이 넣으시기도와 자 여바 니라 속베 제순 주베 생이제 봄바 제제 봄바치 니라 속바 되서 가르소레 연대제 텐데 제신 니 여바데 랑고 뭐 주바 여바 마레세 디고 당보데 식니게 데바데 니레 시기도와 디니게 데바데 제수 시기도와
네. So the verse reads that by virtue of its characteristic, the characterized does not exist. Such a thing has no existence as something different from number and so forth. The commentary is really about begins describing the second two lines, or commenting on the second two lines. Such a thing has no existence as something different from number and so forth. So if one contends that existence and so forth have the characteristic of accompanying things, while the pot has the opposite characteristic, then by virtue of this opposite characteristic, the pot it characterizes does not exist anywhere by way of its own, anywhere essentially. That it couldn't exist essentially as it's the opposite of existing as it is the opposite of the opposite of existing essentially would be not existing essentially. Such a thing, distinct from numbers like 1, 2, and so forth, has no existence as a pot established by way of its own entity, or a pot established essentially. So when you have once that it's distinct from numbers 1 and so forth, then it has no existence as a pot essentially established. In brief, something characterized which is a different entity from its characteristics, and characteristics which are different entities from that which they characterize, cannot be found.
손자 천시시오라. 그나 가요나리베 포베나 예베 렌시시오라. 포베나 예베 둥지 렌시시오데 천시시그라. 디 추레스 디 손자르바 추임바데. 렌시시오라바스는 천이르바. 포베나가 추데 포베나가 렌시오데 추모레 드니까 소레 렌시시와 모르바. 자 천이다 천시 손자 숨보데 뭐 찍어인 거래. 칸에 숨라고 말이지. 둥지 렌시시와 디 천시 추임버 천 렌시시와 이노스 천이 진짜 고야시오래 딱 고야시오래. 어제전에 천시스르고 천이 되게 천재들 간도 천배시들 쓰고라. 둥지 렌시시와 디 세르친이라. 얘네 추레 쓰고라. 손자라. 가레스 렌시시와래 쓰고라. 어디 듣고 렌시시와도 천이라. 둥지 렌시시와도 천시라. 그래서 천시다 천인기데 뭐지 버려. 손자들 추임버들에. 둥지 렌시시와도 추다 뭐지 버려. 자 천시다 천이 손자 숨부디 뭐지 그래서. 뭐 다들 말해서 거라. 야.
So, what's in my cup here is has a definition of being wet and sensing, lensing
셰르와.
sherwa.
렌스는 럼바시고라. 셰르와스는 반대로 로야게루나 변도라.
And liquid, I guess we would say. So,
럼바.
wet and liquid, wet and flowing, maybe either way you can say. But so then that's the definition of something, and that's what we're talking about here. And when this translator uses the word characteristic, by virtue of its definition, you could say also, or another way we do it is defining characteristics. But so then the wet and flowing is the definition of water, right? And so then water has to be that they're the same nature or the same. They have to be of the same nature, and they can't be of separate natures. That what is something characterized is the thing characterized is the water, and then the characteristics are wet and flowing. Okay, or so they're of the same nature. They can't be different, and they can't be like different natures or different entities.
나 단이버 랑게 때바카기도 남바 상제베 tukta to shesu rangune yobayin tembaru yobayin sigora tipaka yora ti kagbadila pa shena ngande shegdo tambu ni chera ne de wode sokba chigdo tembaru ba gebar kagbadila ngare chduga tadi wone ma soso yungra tingenen tambudira tambu chigdan tade tala kagba nesigdo 속바 지도 템바투바 가기요라 망보지 수 초네는 속바 지용그와 어디 초소는 지도 속바 상마 수 지도 템바투바데 요마레스티바 가기요라 랑게 테바투 속바투 랑네 요반 되기요라 데바 가기도
So here we're still talking about well, we're going to the 7th verse here, which is moves to Buddhist systems of thought or schools of thought, and begins with the Sautrantika here, and so it's extensively refuting the composite or the composite as a truly existent single unit. And the first part of that is to the refutation by examining for oneness or difference. Also.
This one. Oh yeah, don't you do show look at the shake door.
No, the
Oh yeah, don't chick down Tadela Takje in the park door. Don't do the bag any Pundo de Balia Pumba to say get down all chick to temper to by ins and do the bag labdoa. Oh, did you love Charlotte and you read Chunjuchan Castle?
yeah.
Do the bag, Pumba de to say get sock by sock by Esera. Pumba de to say get get the sock by chick to temper to a race labdoa tibacagdoa.
So the pot and its 8 substantial, the Sautrantika assertion is that the pot and its 8 substantial entities are one truly existent entity.
This one.
No,
Don't do that, Tambu the Pagad. Singing Namdan Soso ne, major Pumba chick my incense doa. The Sholuga Timbatic chicken Tambunidera. Singing Nasoba Changi to say Gabo Namdan Zera. Sai Juan, Ben Juan, Chu Juan, Lungi Juan Segara. There's a good singing Kagakarava. Sashi Teba, Yangshe Yoa, Sashi Seba Sero, that in the China. That singing Mendra, Rangi, singing Mendra, not so changy. To say Gabo Namdan Segua. Singing Namdan. So name major Pumbachik Mayin Oh, Namdan, so name Mebar, Ngoni Yetube, Chick in Becher, Pumba Mambuni don't Euros. Pumba de Chick Maimba, Pumba Mambo and do Resigora. Caresna, Sai, Pumba Sobaneva, Sadan Chick and do the new change on that she, Sudan, Tridanchi, Rodanchi, Rexana Chick and do the Pumba to say gay when she. Pumba China, Pumba gay over and do race, Mambo over and do race. Goddess and Tezu Kangadako, she ranking to be chicky Nasigora. This why. Singing Namda, Soso ne, me cheers, Soso mine by Chigina, ne Pumba, Chigmai de Chigrin Batando Resigua. Pumba Mambo Tando, Chig mine by and do Resigua. Pumba Mambo Nitan Euros. Do this one. Ah, yeah.
So then the first 2 lines of the verse read, because the pot is not separate from its characteristics or defining characteristics, it is not one. So it follows that the pot would not be a truly single unit because it is because it is essentially one with and not separate from its 8 substantial particles, which have diverse characteristics. The substantial particles are the 4 elements, and then the form. What did I have? Form, taste, smell, and tangibility. So then all of these have their distinct defining characteristics, and so then it could, if it's one with those, then then it would not be it couldn't be like just one thing. It could not be a truly single unit. And then it goes on to say that in the commentary that the pot is a plurality, and that's the assertion. So in that case, that there should be a pot for each of the 8 substantial particles. So just as the pot is many, just if it's one with the 8, then it also should be 8 pots.
Oh yeah, da Rere Pumba Menani Mangni Taber Minguru said anybody. This one. The Rere the Shologa Timbadi Sigomani, Sigamani. The Dana to say, Rere was 사이 뒤 매 뒤시 뒤 개용거라 레레와 봄바른 겨울거 나세 지기는 뜻은 겨울거나 레레 봄바 매 나세 레레 봄바 많이 나데 봄바 매베체나 봄바 망보니도 태바르 mengyurose indi pumba mangbu teg marese ti mangbu teg menani ze gebudeda pumba su sokba de chigrig mar rangune tube chigrig marese gora yeah
so so then on the next two lines then go on with the same argument about continuing the argument that it's not one truly existent entity. Then it says, if there is not a pot for each of the, this is the verse, sorry, the last two lines say, if there is not a pot for each, plurality is not feasible. Then since there, if you say that there's no pot for each, then the pot would not be made up of many parts. It would not be feasible as a plurality.
Bisa. Tangani sholuga jebadila gyorda. Sholuga jebadira. Ndi karsi dosina. O tuze ke ndi kakbangwe se pa kagido dode bal pa kagiyora. Kar kagdosne tuze ke penju trebale pumba chikdo gyoro shenase. Tuze ke de penju pumba da chikda maru de penju trene. Yamda ruru chene ni pumba chik tukuyore se nase gora. Tuze ke penju trebale pumba chikdo gyoro shenase. Dode pa kagiyora. Dichilamna ale tambo dodi ba karla budosena tuze ge burere dan pumba chiginsena ko pumba mambore dogdwa ti menslap sara da tuze ge penju trebale tugi ze ge de penju trebale ne pumba chik temba tuba tupki ore sena sigora yeah
So Trantika is coming back and saying, here this is that the pod is a single unit. If it's a problem with the pod having 8 substantial particles, then they're trying to make it into a truly existent single unit by saying that the pod is a single unit through the coming together of the 8 substantial particles, that the 8 substantial particles meet together, and therefore it exists as a truly existent single unit.
Regjadan demba de sigora. Ke karesne regbadan demba sa chu me lungi zeto su sigora. Regjara ba konzo.
Sa chu me lung, right?
Mode o regjadan demba re sigora. Kesu regja shagura. Me regjare, sa regjare, chu regjare, ane karesne. Te junga shidi regjal shagura sigora. Sa yin junga, me yin junga, chu yin junga, lungi junga sigora unde chene. O tane regden rechara regdan mendemba de karesna o regda mendemba de karesna de regbadan demba joashi sidwa regbadan mendemba suti ro regja so resigora regdan menden ta sera geden roso lenji regje choro shecha meba tesher lenji choro shecha me sidwa tezo ganga lenji do chorni chikdu tubaji ranguni trubachi yo mare sigora kanga ranguni trubali chagura konjo tik pakagi ora mese karesna tichiri suso nam chorwa namba kundu reg mayese tichiri suso tuze kebu te nam charu ale sururu chane charu ale pumba sange chokba chik temba trubachi namba kundu regba mayino sigora tichiri suso nam chorwa namba kundu rigma yinse sokpa chikdo temba druba chi number kundu rekba mayin sigora. This one.
No.
Oh yeah.
So the verse reads, "The tangible and the intangible cannot said to coalesce. Thus it is in no way feasible for these forms to coalesce." The pot's composite can in no way be a truly existent single unit due to the coalescence of 8 substantial particles, such as visible form and so forth. Because the 4 elements which are tangible, the 4 elements are tangible, and visible form, smell, and so forth, which are intangible, cannot touch and coalesce. Something that's tangible and intangible can't come together. So,
This one. Oh yeah. Tadi bacha. Tanga zundi kagdo sholoka kubati redwa. Tadi kar kagdo sne te land tanda dodwa gala ve land fa kagdo. Oh kandes kagdo sne penjo tambo koglade. Penjo regba me bar yansa. Oh penjo regba de rawan do temba trube sugi regba rangshin gi regba tinde yo mare segora. Me bar yan teda ge chokba pumba temba ine teda chokba pumba de temba truba re rangune truba na wana shi temba truba re segora. Tipa kagdo. Teach labdale Quran debade.
So here, verse 334, the 9th verse, then the Sautranticas are coming up with another solution. Even though there is no mutual contact, their combination is a truly existent pot. That just talking about the collection or combination of those 8 components.
This one. Tanga ni sholoka kubade sikan tambo ni dik tanda shegora. Oh de sugne se de pumbe sugne segdo. Ene pumbe yala te segdo. Pumbe sugne pumbe yala de chashe in re segora. Pumbe su pumbe kato pumbe te sero tinde yongura. Pumbe yip sero. Chesa pumbe sugne pumbe yala re segora. Suni pumbe yangla te segdo. Yangla te se chashe re se. This one. Chashe yimba tena segora. Suni pumbe yangla te chashe yimba tena segdo. Tena rishi te pumin segdo. O tena se rishi se tangbo te ro pumbe min de se de pumbe regma re segora. Pumbe su te teso pumba regma re segura. Pumba mendi trila sokpa shino. Pumbe tri pumba mara. Pumbe ro pumba mara se tende nangshin re segura. Tena this one. Sune pumbe yangla te tena rishi te pumin segura. O yangla te su re ne pumba mara segura. Pena trila sokpa shino. Sukde pumbe sukde pumba regma re te pumbe tri pumba maimba shino segdo. Tena rishi pumba mise. Yangla la tene yangla chen yuebe te pumba yino shenase. Ore. Yangla la tene yangla chen shagurwa. Yangla sene pumbe ka do pumbe ka shagu towa se teso chashe re deorwa. Pumbe yangla sam chashe re deora. Kawale so nanyi. Yangla la ndondriswa. Ta yangla la tebe, yangla chen yuebe, te pumba yino shenas. O den do deba yangja sigdwa. Yangla la tebe, yangla chen de yore, te rangwine tube pumba re sigdwa. Yangla da yangla chen se. Chashe dozla yangla sigra. Zugu nga rechine yangla raba. Ndo sidu yangla chen re deora. O ten nashi pumbe ka shep towa chi na se 규제도 강가 양라를 때도 초보도 분벌이 양라 쟁이라 양라 레레네 코다 찍도 땜바면은 분벌 권한 양라 쟁인데 땜바도 레시기도
So to refute this, then, in the first two lines, it says, form is a component of the pot, and thus, for a start, is not the pot. So the commentary then says the pot's visible form is a component or part of the pot, and thus, for a start, it is not the pot, just as the as smell and so forth are not. So that smell and other components then are not the pot, and so this idea of the combination being the truly existent pot is that these are not the pot. Then since a compound here
This one.
No, Yanlak and Yanlak Chen, right?
Oh, there.
This is like, it's really talking about the whole and the parts here in this next one, but it says, since a compound is reliant upon its components, since a compound reliant upon its components exists, that is the pot. It's talking about the whole and the parts. And so it's so the whole exists, is what they're saying. That is the pot. Since the compound does not exist, neither do the components. Here, so since visible form, smell, and so forth. Oh,
Suni pumbe yana de tena rishi te pum min sigdo. Mambu keja yo mare. Di karsuris na pumbe sugla soba yana rere wade pumba mare sigara. Pumba mare se. Oh, ti ina ya ko yana chen te dala tebe yana chen di yore te sonza ti pumba rangune tube pumba re se na sigara. Yana rere wade pumba dan chik mare pumba mare se. Ina yana chokba de pumbe ngo rangune tube yore sigara.
So in this assertion, then they're accepting, okay, so that the various components are not the pot. So then we say that if the parts aren't the pot, then the whole is the pot.
Danjibadira, Kangshir Yanla, Chen Meba, Tena Yanla Chang Yu Min Sedira. Modika Kangeshire, Sultan Tila Soba, Rela, Pumba Mebe Esra, Kangshir Yanla Chen Meba se, Rela Pumba Yoma Reserva, Rere Pumba Maria Pumba Yoma Rese. Tena Yanla Chang Yu Min se, Mebe, Yanla Chen Pumba Rangan Oyotuba Meba se. Yanla Chen Pumba de Rangan Oyotuba de Yoma Res, Chidan Yanla Chen Pumba de Yora. Yona te ko rangune tuba yin sigora, rangan ngoyo tuba yin sigora, te yo ma re sigora. Tena yanla tang yue min se. Tena se, yanla jang rangan ngoyo tuba, yue ba min de, chatan chebe, kebe chiris. This one, kangshir yanla chen me ba se. Kanga che su dan trila sokba re re la, pumba me be es chera. Pumba me be es se. Kangshir Yanla Chen Meba, Tena Sigura. Mebe, Yanla Chen Pumba Rangi Ngoyo Truba Meba Tenas, Yanla Chen Ki Pumba Rangi Ngoyo Truba Yoba Mare Sera. Oh, Ti Medu, Yanla Chen Meba Se, Yanla Chen Ki Pumba Rangi Ngoyo Truba Yoba Mare Se. Tena Se, Yanla Chang Yu Min Se, Yanla Chang Rangi Ngoyo Truba Yoba Mindi Se, Chadan Chebe Kebe Chirs. Yanla Chen Ki Pumba De Rangi Ngoyo Truba Yoba Mare, 양라 레레와 도저에 랑 모여 주바 요 말이 양라 레레와 도저에 양 고라에 차다 째버려서 오라 양라 레레와 데 분배 차르와 분배 양라로와 양 고라는 또디한 차요를 때 저는 고 양라 째려 되어라 뭐 대선자 니가 랑군에 주바 요 말에 송도
네. So since visible form, smell, and so forth, better to read the 2 lines of the verse. Since the compound does not exist, or since the whole does not exist, neither do the parts or the components. Since visible form, smell, and so forth here it says, do not each have a pot. I don't know. Are not the pot, I think is better to say. The compound pot does not exist by way of its own entity. As it exists by way of its own, its own essence, as it has parts. And the components too, therefore, do not exist, do not essentially exist because they also have parts. The components also are made up of parts, so then they cannot exist, essentially exist or exist from their own side as well.
단되게 쇼로가 쭈바디라 대 가르셰도스나 아니 봄버 템버 좀나 수첸꾼 봄버 타와 까단 거도 this one 디 쇼로가 쭈바디라 디 숨바세 subjection 디 말음네 카메라 투투라메라 숨바 속바 찌도 템버 고베 리버 템버들 니도와 봄버 템버 좀나 수첸꾼 봄버 타와 봄베 뒤제 게 그냥 찍도 타와 니도와 걔네는 담보 봄버 템버 좀나 수수 강가데 봄버 힘버 탄로 그래서 그냥 쇼도 뒤래 쇼로가 쭈바디
So we're on the 10th verse of this chapter, and it's if we look in the outline, that it starts as a separate section that's showing other reasoning which refutes the composite as a truly existent single unit. The 2 parts are consequence that everything is a pot if the pot has true existence, and consequence that the 8 substantial particles of the part are one. And so here we're doing the consequence that everything is a pot if the pot has true existence.
배들다 쇼로가 쭈바들다 쇼로가 쭈바들아 오야다 수남꾼라 소니니 생이 미트 마이나스도 가르쳐서 수제 찍라 봄바 여바른 교신이스 수제 카셰 봄바레 되가 말아 또 대샤쇼 추기와데 봄바레 데 조즈다도 봄바 말아 수제 찍라 봄바 여바른 교신이스 수제 셴다라 봄바 여바 멤버 지시 봄바르 총바 지단고 수제 카셰 봄바레 되가 말아 가시 봄바레 요 말아 다데 태그 말해서 거라 걔나 너도 말때 태그 말해 강가 봄바레도 그래서 거라 가르스네 봄바르 총바르다 강가 봄바에 뭐 총바르다서 지루라서바 봄남 지루라서바 아니 봄바다 남부시거라 넬세 남불라서바 수남 꾼라 수니니 수수로와 좀 생이 메팀바 마이나세 정말 수수로와 좀 생이 밑은 봐요 말아 강가 생이 tum바라 와시고라 강가 수리도라 이 수는 끈라 수니니 생이 밑은 마이나스 강가 수수로 완성 생이 tum그라 수리도라 수 강가 뒤에는 소라 또 수제 덴버 trobalasa pumba dabu chiko suchik 덴버 troso나 라와도 tro고도 랑신지 코 pumba 렌도 고야라 랑신기 수제지 pumba 레소나 수제 신다 참마 pumba karjani merere kanga pumba rendo kore sigwara rangwini tumne rawandu tumdo rawandu rangshingi pumba rendo ra rangshingi pumba rene shenle toijin teni pumba rego mara rego manene sujen tamje pumba imba tha sigwara pumba seyade ko rangshingi rendo ibe chir sigwara dire dekdo wase chigla pumba yo gyorshin shenda lami kyuchishi kyusen kariwara kanga pumba rendo ure sigwara ta temba dobale kyo tangiwara rangwini yosina rawandu tubare tena suji pumbare suna rangshingi pumbare ndo changma pumbare ro kore sigora
So then why are some things that have form pots and other things that have form not parts? The definition of a pot is something that has form, right? So then the verse reads, the commentary, that's part of the commentary, why are some things that have form pots and other things that have form not pots? So then in the verse it says, if the definition of form applies without incongruity to all forms, for what reason is one a pot and not all others? It follows that all should, and the commentary says, it follows that all should equally be pots. For if the definition that form is simply that which is appropriate as form, form is that which is appropriate as a form, applies without any incongruity to all forms, such as smell, taste, and so forth, as well as pots and woolen cloths. Truly existent things with form would be the same in all respects. If they truly existent means this inherently that they are, inherently existent, or what do you say? Intrinsically, they are that way. So if they all have that same, then everything would have that same nature and would be, they'd all be would all be pots. Teresa.
This way. Yeah. 당연히 데리다 니바 분배 두세 개장 직도 타와세. 다들 너들 견주도. 분배 두세 개 강가대 직전도 그랬을 타왔던 거도. 두세 개 소소하러 봐 말와. 다 랑원에 트베티 트고네 두세 개부터 직전도 그랬어. 견단 거도. 야.
So here
쇼루가 죽지더라.
The consequence that this is the 11th verse, the consequence that the 8 substantial particles of the pot are one, if they exist, what do you say, essentially, and then it follows that form, smell, and so forth would also be one because of being one with the pot.
Oh yeah, Pumbe Sudan, Trilla Soba, Sama Chicken Bartar Sudo, Pumbeda Chicken Bechery. Ni suti so tade do senas ta pumbe suda tila so batazo chig mari tade yin sena sigdo tade pa ka ba chigdo di kande chigdo sna roso tale su shen sigdo kede ombo tade be sunja yin be cherse rode che sungure tidi ne sungure ani rekja de lushik sungure su de mishik sungura o cheda roso tale su shen se kede ombo tadebe sunja imbechi mege ombo na ombo ne ombo che ombo leje ombo to so tongje tere de ora su ta ti ro re cha to sigora so roso tale su shen se ti ro so tale su de shen re sigora su de meke shebe tongure ti da ro do na we sheba da je sheba tongure kini khaga re sigora ti ro so tale su shen yin shin roso tale su shen shin sedera.
Mm-hmm.
Sikantangbude roso tale su shen shin sera. This one, Pumle Mishi Kundu Nase. Pumbele Su Shen Mishi Kundu Nase. Pumbele Su de Shen Marise Kelimba Yinase Gora, Dona. Pumle Mishi Kundu Nasera. Chidar, what did you love Shantambo?
No. So
Siganidi.
here, well, better to restate it how it's done in the commentary. It follows that form, smell, and so forth would also be one because of being one with the pot. Form, smell, then the objection is by the opponent is then form, smell, and so forth are different. Then the answer to that is if you assert that, as contained in the verse said, if you assert that form is distinct from taste and so forth, but not from the pot, how can that which does not exist without these not be distinct from form? And so here the commentary says, you assert that smell, taste, and so forth are distinct from visible form. And that is because they are objects apprehended by different senses. And they have different sense faculties, they have different sense consciousness, and but that visible form is not distinct from the pot. You assert that, so again to say that, you assert that smell, taste, and so forth are distinct from visible form because they are objects apprehended by different sense consciousnesses, maybe we can say, but that visible form is not distinct from the pot.
There nasty but this one. Yeah, that then a meba rameka desolation chidar means it. Oh, then a meba ramekang desolation chidar means it. Chidar sugle shembe rolla soba then a meba sigura. So my game tiro rachel soba tuzation, tembuti mena sigura, pumbe soba sigura. Oh, then a meba ramekang say. Then a meba pumba ran shout to give a maresora. Pumba kona yung maresora. Tiro rachel soba shenda said to the man, pumba kona shy yung maresora. There's a trouble at the pumba shower to say again doing the pumba shower mare. Oh, then this is so the pasha shenda the two legra. Oh, doing the man, pumba de yung maresora. Then a meba rang meka, pumba ranye yung maresora. Then a meba do, then a meba carry, chidar sule shembe rolla soba, tembuti meba segura. Pumba rang shadow mebe, pumba koran shadow took maresora. Then a mebe rang meka, pumba rang shadow yoba maresora. And mebe, pumba can de sule shem me, shendo tells. Pumba can de rang soba nebe suta, trita rolla sobale, and shen, my indi shen in barta, pumba suti so, ngoni tade in bitches. Pumba de suta trisole tade in, rangshin tade rendugre. Oh, this one, this one. Then a meba rameka, the sulation chidar means. Shen member shen to tell shen in barta, pumba suti sole ngoni tade in bitches. Pumba de suta trisole rangshin to be tade in, and the person drawing tade rendura. Oh, then Garsure. Then a meba pumba ran shot to meba pumba county, Sule shen, and me shen to tell. Pumbale and shen rendures, pumba pasha, mobe kaga rendures. Gare rangshin to be tade in a cope, chichile termego be tade rendura. Pumba loga chiche, pumbe, tiro, recha, zero, sai juan mejo, pe loga, chando resigora. Then any said to the man, pumba, you go to yung mareseba.
So here, then, yet how can the pot that cannot be posited? Here it's talking about a pot that is exists by way of its own entity, or as its own entity, or by way of its own essence, or essentially exists. Then it would be, if it's distinct from its components, and then it couldn't be a pot, right? Because it would be what do you say? Unrelatedly distinct, and so then it says it here in the commentary by saying, yet how can the pot that cannot be posited without taste and so forth, which are distinct from form, not be distinct from form? So then it follows that it should be, because the pot is different from form, smell, and so forth, by way of its own entity, or essentially different, or what do you say? Independently existent from its components.
This one. That sholuka chungni dira, chungni badira. Oh, de karsidosna. Pumba rangi jule temba truba kyo yensne tipa kagdwa. Pumba de rangi juda kenle tene ne rangune truba kyo resne tipa kagdwa. Shiba pumba rangi jule temba keba kagba asudwa.
Then here is refuting the truly existent production of pot from its causes.
This way. Oh yeah. That karsidosna. Pumbalani Juyu Mesidua, Pumbalani, Sula Soba, Ranking Onye Jitrube, Juyoba, Mimbe Sidua, Chitan Pumbala Juyora, Ina Ranking Moytrube, Pumbe Juyomarwa. Oh, this is Pumbalani, Sula Soba, Ranking Onye Jitrube, Juyoba, Mahimbe Ese, Pumbarani, Rani, Moytrube, Debur Minjurti Ese. This is Pumbalani Juyu Minsera. Rani Debur Minjur Desidua. Second Tambuni Dictanda Shagorda. Oh, Pumbalane, Joyumi, Rani Debur Minjur Desid. Pumbalane, Sula Soba, ranking only Jitube, Juyaba Maresegura. Chita Juya, ranking Wotube, Juya Maresegura. Yuba Mimbe. Pumba running Wotube, Debur Minjur Dese. Pumba de ranking Wotube. Any Deburi, Deburi, Maresura, Rangin Debur Minjurte said. Ranking word to Debur Minjurte. Teacher is Suso Le Shendo, Pumbangaya Yema Yesidua. Teacher Suso Yana Namle, So T. Road Jalo Soba, Soju Melunga Jume Jalo Soba. Tesu Gele, Se Shendo, teacher Suso. Yangla namles, Yangla Jayora, Chashe. Jungwashi, Jungushis Jayuba. Sole Yangla namle, Shen Kandoya, Pumbangoni, Jutubangaya, Yuba Mimbe. Tedale Shembe, Pumba Singaji Rangi Mutuba, Yuba Mimbe. Sula Sobala Loso Pumba, Mamibe Chere. Tedale Ngota debe Pumba Metos. O Tedale Ngota debe. Pumba Yomari. Teacher Suso Le Shendo, Pumbangaya Yoma said. This one?
No.
Oh, yeah. Tambush, yeah, that did.
So, this next verse, then 12, or the numbering here is 337. If well, to start, just to read the first two lines, then the pot has no causes and is itself not an effect. In general, we say that the pot has causes. Don't get confused with that. But here it's talking about truly existent, or what do you say, essentially existent causes. and essentially existent effect. So since form and so forth, talking about the 8 components, then, sorry, what did we call them before? The 8? 8 substantial particles. Then, since form and so forth, the 4 elements and form and smell and so forth are not the pot's causes, are not the essential causes of the pot, then the pot is not an effect existent that is essentially existent. Thus, there is nowhere a pot that exists by way of its own entity or by way of its own essence, apart from its components, like visible form and so forth. Since a pot cannot be found isolated from its components, a pot which is a different entity from them does not exist. The idea is still that if the pot existed by way of its own entity, or as its own entity, or essentially existed essentially, then it would be totally different from the components, and but such a pot cannot be found.
No one do shut up.